Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, Carabao Cup progression scored. And yes, this was in a game that many of us thought we would get to lose. And not because we are negative or anything, but because of the trend of how things have been going. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 games played against Brighton, 1 in pre-season, another one in the Carabao Cup, 2 victories. Maybe, just maybe, there is something beautiful happening with this club. Well, we're going to be saying everything because we won a game, right? Yeah, we're going to be doing that. But in this particular video, I want to tell you that we're going to be pointing out some of the positives that came out of this game. I took note of some of those. And of course, some of the negatives and some of the things that we should continue to be looking out for. As well as, of course, address a couple of ways we might be being unfair to the lads and to the process altogether. My name is Desire Derek Ford Mugumisa. Thank you so much for watching this video. I urge you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That is one of the best ways you can get to support us as we continue to grow this channel. Follow me on social media as well, and let's continue having those conversations over there as well. Now, let's get to state one thing. One thing is for clear. Some Chelsea we've watched play from day one. The patterns are there. The patterns are the same. We're just going to be more recognizing of them simply because we won today. But yeah, the patterns are there. You can see that the combinations are still growing. We could have scored more goals today, take away what was cancelled and everything, just with better understanding of each other. There could have been more goals scored today. But yeah, I like that there is something happening there. You can see that Pochettino and the boys are up to something. It hasn't exactly gotten so many wins in the league so far, but it is happening, and at least it goes as a very, very important win today. Simply because the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup are always going to be the most important competitions for us, especially with how we've started in the league. For us to be able to progress as far as we can, probably nick a trophy or 2, will be very, very good and big for us as we get onto this kind of journey. Because trust me, even the ownership needs to start getting some signs of this is what we are up to. We can't just keep changing projects from one project to another consistently. They need results, and maybe this will be something. So beautiful to see that we got that one. Cole Palmer, he will have stood out for so many people. Matter of fact, many fans of Stamford Bridge stood up and gave him that ovation that he definitely deserved when Enzo Fernandez was coming on for him. How comfortable he is on the ball is still so amazing for a player that young. How calm he is, especially when you see that assist that he had for Nicholas Jackson today. Beautiful stuff to see. A breath of fresh air in the Chelsea side. Definitely offering us something different in there. And of course, when you see Nkunku and Kani Chukwuemeka getting to come back, you see that we have quite a number of clever players that give us something different in the squad. So yes, I cannot wait to see what that one gets to go. You cannot mention Cole Palmer today without mentioning Nico Jackson. Yet another Nico performance, I've got to say. He drops deep, he steals balls off of centre-backs, he runs them ragged here and there, and of course it's still lacking as far as the finishers get to go. The decision-making is still something that you want to think we will need to improve. But yeah, he's ever-present, he's always doing that. I'm glad to see. Unless I missed it, he didn't get a yellow card today, so maybe that is progress right there. Running the ball off a couple of times there in the first half, I do think also got to point out how raw a player he is. He is willing to do so many things, but of course he lacks the experience to know if I am, like that second time where he robbed, he shoved a player off and got the ball and started an attack. And you could see he was waiting for the run of whichever player, I think it was Ugochukwu or Caicedo, who was in the middle. He was looking for him to go through so he can get release that, through ball. And he just lost concentration. And by the time he got the ball, his eyes back on the ball, it was out of the pitch. I could see why it happened that way. Very frustrating. But guys, we are not going to be judging these players at the level of how you would judge an experienced striker. These are young players. We've gone with young players. They're going to be making mistakes, some of them crazy in there. But it's part of the learning process. that's exactly part of what we chose to take the direction. So hey, we might need to be a little bit calmer on them. For many of us, we are not at Stamford Bridge, so they don't even get to hear us. We are not even their friends, they don't get to hear us. So you might want to do it for your own emotions, because the more you expect so much of an experienced performance from a rookie, the more you are going to be mad at things that you probably shouldn't be mad about. Everything you have control of is how you react to issues, especially these that we don't have control over. Anyways, let's get to move on and talk about Levi Colwill. Finally seen a left centre-back where many of us, including myself, have called for him to get to play at. So that was beautiful. But there was something different for me. When I watched him in pre-season playing a left centre-back all through there, he was a bit shaky. He was a kid. He was giving away a penalty in one game, or, rush challenges in the other. This is one of the more composed performances that I've seen him get to, deliver. And I want to credit Pochettino because I think in everything of him playing him at left back, he's given him a run in the team. Confidence has grown and all of those kinds of things. It was a much more assured performance at centre back, and now we are seeing the guy that we refused to sell coming to show up more and more for Chelsea Football Club. He doesn't exactly look like a kid who's being given an opportunity in the senior team anymore. That was an assured performance, so that was beautiful to watch. Speaking of players changing positions, Cucurella coming in at right back. Now that is not something that I expected would happen. I thought maybe Disasi would be the guy at right back. I think many of us called for that. Maybe an opportunity for Chalobah to get back in the team and get to play there. Maybe deploy Gallagher at right back like he played late on when Chilwell walked off, and then we had Cucurella cross to left back. There were so many options, and yet Pochettino chose to go with Cucurella. I would want to understand what happened there, but I want to think that because as I record this, he has not exactly had his press conference where he would probably be asked this question. But I'm thinking it was also very much about Mitoma, him being the kind of midfielder that cuts in onto his right off the left and causes all sorts of problems. Having a defender that is left-footed limited him, as well as, of course, Ansu Fati, which also now brings in the question or the issue of Ian Maatsen coming into play and play on the left side. If that's exactly what Pochettino was doing, then I think it was genius, because Ansu Fati and Mitoma were pretty much neutralized and sent home early from the game right there. Every time they cut in, Maatsen was there, Cucurella was there, sometimes double teaming against the player who's trying to do that, forcing Mitoma to go all the way, and many a time, actually once or twice, giving away a goal kick. So that was brilliant, of course, strategy coming in from Pochettino in that one. And it was good to also see Cucurella, go all out for 50-50 challenges and all of that, defending well. I can't remember him putting a foot wrong, Cucurella, in this game. So that was beautiful to see, and glad that we have those kinds of options in the squad. Now, we're still with the defense, and I'm going to talk about Sanchez now. What a performance coming in from him as far as the gloves are concerned. What a worry coming in from him as far as the boot is concerned. Is this exactly why De Zerbi benched him as much as he did, in as much as we thought he was a very good shot stopper? Because if you're a rival, fan playing against Brighton, or in neutral watching Brighton play another team, you're looking out for the guy who's making the saves and all of that, and we praised him for that. But that boot today was so questionable. Almost every single time Sanchez needed to send a ball out, it went straight out, or he was giving it direct to an opponent. Matter of fact, João Pedro doing us a favor and missing. Of course, we also have to give Sanchez, in as much as he had blundered in giving away the ball to João Pedro, he did well, closing the gap and just expanding his body and his frame to make it a little hard for João Pedro to find the back of the net in there. So yes, a blunder and then a good recovery in that particular one. But yes, the boot is definitely still a question. The shot stopping, these last two games have been so solid coming in from Sanchez. Again, there were times where we lost today 3-1. Yeah, we need to be aware of that. There were times where we lost 3-1 if Sanchez doesn't pull off the saves that he pulled off today. So well done, Sanchez, over and above. But yes, that boot will need improving. You also want to think that there was a missed opportunity to play Petrovic today in this particular game, and there will be debate about that. And I am struggling to make a decision, but I think now that I think of it, I'm just going to take the direction of it was the right call. Keep Sanchez between the sticks, because this is just how important, especially with how we've started in the league. The cups are so important. You can't just go out and say we're giving kids an opportunity to make a debut and all of those kinds of things. You get knocked out of the Carabao Cup, it's all over. Maybe if we get League 2 opposition or something like that, they will get an opportunity, Petrovic, in there. But yeah, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, they will be very important for Poch this particular season. Caicedo looking very brilliant in midfield, didn't he? Of course, apart from a couple of instances where he was pushed off and the referee didn't give that free kick and all of that, but the passes, it looked like he was going to be finding his man every time he sent out a pass, breaking down the play. He did that brilliantly. He was just an ever-present in that midfield. You want to think he was also extra driven by the fact that he was playing against his former side, and there were some people who were booing him for leaving the club and all of that. So yeah, that was beautiful to see, nearer to what we signed him for, why we signed him and all of that. Of course, today with the few changes in the team and all of that, we didn't manage. We are yet to see that double pivot of both Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. I can't wait to see what that will get to offer us right there. But Ugo Chukwu, not so convincing a performance today, right? He also survived a red card, so we are thankful that VAR didn't show up today as far as that is concerned. But of course, we're still also hopeful. We also wish VAR was there only for Nicholas Jackson's passive offside, where we could have gotten that 2-0 victory. But hey, no goal difference needed, so it's okay. Thank you, VAR, for not being here. But Ugo Chukwu a little bit shaky, some blind passes that were uncalled for, and all of those kinds of things. Again, 19, 20, 21-year-old players that we are putting out there and are learning to play their trade in a new league against a very good Brighton side. I think that is what we need to point out the most. This was a solid Brighton side that we managed to dominate, that we managed to get our own off of them and all of that. So that is pretty much beautiful. Fun fact, 8 of the players that started today's game, by the way, were not at the club last season. The 11 that started, 8 of the 11 were not at the club. 2 of them because of loans. They were away, Ian Matson and Levi Colwill. The others, totally new players coming into the club. So yeah, we've got to give credit where this is due. I would want to have someone in the comments tell me how many of the Brighton players were not at the club last season and they played today. I think only Baleba, Ansu Fati. I struggle to see who else wasn't at the club last season that played that game today. So yes, a much more stable side, playing the football they've been playing. They're playing in Europe, we are not. They're flying high on the table, we are not, and all of those kinds of things. And we managed to pull off that performance that we did today. Remember, these are similar performances that we've pulled off against the West Hams, against the Liverpools, and name it. We've just not gotten the goals going. Even today, we managed only 1. Could have been 2 if it was in the Premier League, but then also we could have played with 10 men if it's... I don't know, but you get what I mean? So those goals coming through is really the issue. It's not that Pochettino is a poor manager. It's not that the players are poor players necessarily and all of that. It just needs to all come together, and we need to wait it out. We need to wait for this team to gel, Chelsea fans. Let's be a little bit more patient, yeah? I think there is something beautiful that is coming through for us. All right, today, progression, I think, is the biggest story there for us. And also very much for Pochettino. Yeah, I think he needs to be reporting to games 4 hours before the game more often, because that's what was reported by Sky Sports earlier. He came to the stadium much earlier than he usually would have. But I think it later paid off, because it gave everyone else the much needed sign that there is progress with this Chelsea side. We continued to, block out the attacks and all of that, and and pretty much minimize, the harm that opposition can get to give us. But you could see also that we had a whole lot more chemistry coming through. Mihailo Mudryk looking very good as well. On the day we've talked about Cole Palmer, Ian Madsen, what an underrated player. The versatility that he's giving to this side is simply beautiful. And to see that he's always played as a left back and yet he comes through and plays the way he does for us in attacking situations. Beautiful stuff to see. It was great to see that Mihailo Mudryk was dropping as far as he was. Ian Madsen was dropping as far as he was as well, and offering more opportunities on defense. I really hope that we can build on that. I hope it's not the case of we win 1-0 in midweek and then lose against Fulham next. Of course, I remember Fulham last season. João Felix gets to join us, puts in the shift that he did, and then gets the red card. We lose that game. Can we get that victory and build on this and maybe get another one to follow that up? We can only hope for the best. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for this review. Congratulations on a victory in the Carabao Cup. Congratulations on progression. Until our next video, I am telling you, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. And hey, as you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next content. Until our next content, keep the blue flag flying high.